Hey, welcome to SI Now. It is Wednesday, March 8th, and I'm Maggie Green. We saw two career milestones on Tuesday night. Of course, Dirk Nowitzki passed 30,000 points for his career, while Russell Westbrook scored his career high. On the surface, Dirk and Russ couldn't be more different. What does a genial 7-foot-tall German have to do with a mercurial guard from LA? Perhaps more than we think. Dirk has come to crystallize the image of an unselfish MVP who won a title without a bona fide superstar sidekick. Sorry, Jason Kidd. Dirk was a unicorn before unicorns were a thing. But before finishing off the 1.0 version of the Heatles, a similar question haunted Dirk that now haunts Westbrook. How come he couldn't win when he had the most help? As with Westbrook's never-ending fashion faux pas, the questions don't stop there. On a day when we're celebrating the accomplishments of Nowitzki's consistency and longevity, we're questioning Westbrook's shot selection and more. We're wondering, is he hurting his team by hogging the ball? Are his fourth quarter heat checks leaving the rest of the team ice cold? And perhaps the most often posed question, would you want to play with him? Well, answer this. What other choice did the Thunder have? Without Westbrook, they're not hanging on to a playoff spot. They're counting down the days until the draft. Mark Cuban can throw shade, but Westbrook is an MVP candidate who, like Dirk, will allow his team to avoid going into full-on tank mode while they acquire more talented players and, let's be honest, wait out the Warriors. Maybe Dirk and Westbrook are destined to leave similar legacies, the face of a franchise who stayed with one team and put them on his back to win a title. As for Westbrook's MVP candidacy for this season, it's something I asked former NBA sharpshooter Dennis Scott about earlier this week. Mark Cuban says the MVP race is only between two players, although I think he added a third in there. James Harden, LeBron James, and maybe Kawhi Leonard. But most importantly, he says no Russell Westbrook. Do you agree with Cuban?
Not at all. I said this when he and Russell got into their little feud last year or 2 years ago, and I said, this is just crazy. It's just crazy how an owner can, express his opinion, which we all have one, which I have a problem with. But when your opinion sometimes doesn't make any sense, and you're saying that Russell Westbrook's not a superstar, and that's where I'm like, come on, Mark, I know you. Just stop it. Just stop it. We know you may not like Russell personally, but you cannot say he's not a superstar on the basketball court. This Cuban being Cuban, that's all I can really say. I mean, Mark's Mark. I love him to death. I think he's a great owner, and I think he's good for our sport. But this is where I think he's crossed the line by saying he's not a superstar.
Okay, so if you believe that Westbrook does belong in the MVP conversation, would he get your vote if indeed the ballots were due today? Who is your MVP this far?
Oh, James Harden, just by the chin of his beard, it would probably get my vote today. The overall numbers and who's working with what and how the style of play has changed, and Mike D'Antoni making him the point guard. And then we always like to play with the numbers of the triple-double. I think that the line of the year is still 51, 17, and 18.
And that would be Harden. All right. Cuban says to be a superstar player that you need to lead your team to 50 wins and one playoff series win. You played with guys who are in the Hall of Fame right now. Superstars bona fide. What do you think of that math from Cuban? Is that right?
Not really. Because there's a lot of superstars that never even made the playoffs, and so that's just hard for me to digest that. So I'll leave that one at that.
Okay, I think we can read between the lines there. Or you can catch Dennis throughout the NBA season on NBA TV, Game Time, and reporting from the sidelines for TNT's new Monday night franchise, Players Only. And of course, tune into NBA TV this Saturday at noon for an all-new episode of 3D TV featuring Dennis's exclusive sit-down interview with Hall of Fame coach John Calipari. What did you most want to learn about Calipari when you sat down with him, Dennis?
Well, just how things have changed. I mean, I've been knowing Coach since I played in high school when he was assistant coach at Pitt University. He was recruiting me, and just how things have changed. And sometimes as an outsider, you may look at something and think that it's good or bad or indifferent. And I think what we're learning is that this new wave of college kids, they think differently. They're way more talented and gifted. At say each generation gets better. And I think the biggest thing I learned is Kentucky is not for everybody. And I think now, for all you listeners, you have to tune in and see the rest.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to when John Calipari takes over the New Orleans Pelicans to coach Boogie and Anthony Davis.
Not happening.
Okay, we're definitely tuning into that interview. Dennis Scott, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk NBA, shall we? And head to Atlanta. It's courtesy of Toyota. Let's go places. Tim Hardaway Jr., my guest. And Tim, you started the month of March off on an absolute tear. You're averaging 22 points a game, shooting over 42% from three. What's been the difference in your approach over the last few games?
I think it's just my competitive, nature. Very passionate about the game, but I really think the game is slowing down for me a lot. Not really starting to realize I don't have to rush anything really. Just take good shots within the offense. Learning how to get easy baskets in transition, get to the foul line a little bit more. And my teammates are just propelling me into just trying to become the best basketball player I can become.
Obviously, the team lost a tough one against the Warriors at home on Monday night. This loss comes 3 days after you guys lost, just barely, to the Cavaliers. It's been 3 straight on the losing side. How tough is it to play well against top teams, but then come out on the wrong end?
It's very frustrating and tough, and just being on the losing end isn't fun. But it's a learning experience. We're learning from all these close games that we're losing, and seeing how we can win. I think it's only 2 or 3 possessions here and there where we could fix and control what we have to control, and those outcomes of the games probably could have been different.
Yeah, it's the NBA, so the talent is there. The margins are so slim. It comes down to a player, too. We all watched a significant player, at least we thought. Dennis Schroder and Dwight Howard got into an argument. It left Steph Curry open for a three-pointer. I mean, these are your teammates. You're around them every day. Were you surprised that they started arguing on the court?
I wasn't surprised. I think that's just the competitive nature of the game, I guess. It was a coach's decision at the end of the day, so you can't really tell coach what to do, what not to do. He's the coach for a reason. We trust his decision, and we just try to go out there and play as hard as we can as a team. We couldn't get it done, but I think all in all, I think the competitive spirit was there throughout the rest of the game.
Schroeder said after that he was benched by Coach Budenholzer, he said, "I don't understand Coach's decision. I want to be on the court. Maybe I'm too competitive. I'm just trying to be competitive and win games." Is it possible to be too competitive?
I think it's just passion more than anything. That's with everybody that plays sports today. You wouldn't be in the NBA, you wouldn't be a professional athlete if you weren't a competitor, if you wasn't passionate about the sport that you love.
Well, listen, the team is sitting at 5th place in the Eastern Conference, so I'm sure you're looking to just get everyone on the right page before the playoffs begin. Just going back over the offseason, the Hawks essentially flipped Al Horford for Dwight Howard. On the surface, it seems like the two guys could not be any more different. How has the addition of Howard changed the Hawks locker room?
Dwight is a very, very, very important piece of the team, as everybody can see. He loves getting everybody involved on the court or off the court. He's a people person. He loves to interact with everybody on the team. We never had a team group chat on text messages last year at all. And once Dwight got on the team, we have our own team group chat. And the group chat is just for getting everybody involved, whether it's, like I said, going bowling or even going to Topgolf, or just any little thing like motivational speech, like, guys, let's get this win, or let's buckle up, get ready for this road trip, or get ready for this home stand, or anything like that. It's just a way of just getting everybody together when everybody's doing their own thing with family or with friends.
It's no secret, the Eastern Conference, it's presumed to be the Cavaliers for the taking. They just lost Andrew Bogut for the season. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games. I mean, Tim, could this finally be the year that the Cavaliers' reign over the East ends?
I don't know. They've shown it year after year now, and we're definitely one of the teams that really want to beat them out there. And I'm pretty sure everybody else in the East wants to beat them as well. They want to be that one team, to get them out of the playoffs. And they're still number 1 in the East, and they're still the reigning champs. So, with that being said, it's going to take a lot of heart and focus and incredible mind to defeat them. So, only time can tell.
Tim Hardaway Jr., good luck against the Brooklyn Nets. I know there's no easy games in the NBA, but this one might get you guys back on track. Really appreciate your time. Again, thank you, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
All right, thank you so much.
This time of year, all about brackets.
Yeah,
so we
brackets.
wanted to tap into your expertise.
Oh, my gosh.
And play a bracket game with some of the best announcer calls of all time.
Okay.
So we're going to start just fast forward to the Elite 8.
Okay.
We have the 8 best announcer calls, and we're put them up bracket style for you.
All
If you can't see, I'll
it.
point them out to you.
Let me see here.
And we're going to have Brian Anderson. We're going to have him give his picks, and then we're going to get all the way to a champion here. So let's start with the 1-8 seed. We have number 8. Tiger Woods at the Masters, called by the great Vern Lundquist.
Yes.
Number 1 overall in our bracket is The Miracle on Ice by Al Michaels. Let's take a listen.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow! In your life have you seen anything like that?
This is a tough call. This is a 1-8.
Yeah.
Who do you have advancing?
Oh, Al Michaels for sure. Miracle on Ice.
Okay, so
For
Miracle
sure.
on Ice, that was an easy one, even though you were mouthing the Vern Lundquist call here in the studio.
They're all great. I just saw Vern yesterday, too. He was sharing all these great Augusta stories, but that's one of those moments.
Okay.
For sure.
Let's move on to our 2-7 matchup. Number 7 is going to be Chris Jenkins, game winner from last year's NCAA tournament, called by Jim Nantz. And then, of course, the Giants win the pennant. Ross Hodges, we're going old school. Let's take a listen.
3 seconds at midcourt. Jenkins gives it to Jenkins for the championship. The national champions with Jenkins hitting the winner at the buzzer.
Classic.
All right, new school and old school. Who advances?
Russ Hodges for sure.
Okay.
I mean, that's like one of those iconic moments. But Jim Nantz, that was such a great call of a game winner. By the way, if you'll listen to that again, you'll notice right before Jenkins shoots the ball, Grant Hill says, "Jenkins."
Really?
He saw the whole play. They used to run that play. It was called Michigan. They used to run that play, and he almost said Michigan, because it's a play where the inbounder comes in and gets the ball back. And so I thought, Nantz, yes. And then the preset right before the shot when Grant Hill said, Jenkins, it's phenomenal.
Wow.
But Russ Hodges, I mean, they're going crazy.
It's
the Giants win the
legendary.
pennant. The Giants win the pennant.
It's great about Grant Hill because obviously he knows a little something about
my
going
gosh.
the length of the court to win a game.
And from a mechanics perspective, if he is 1 second later, he ruins Nantz's call. Totally blows it up. And he didn't. He had the great instincts to get in early. It was beautiful.
Okay, let's go to our 3-6 matchup, and this is going to be Havlicek stealing the ball, called by Johnny Most. And then the band is on the field, called by Joe Starkey, the Cal commentator. Let's listen.
Hard, Greer's putting the ball on a play. He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it over to Stan Jones. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. It's all over. Johnny Havlicek is being mobbed by the fans. It's all over.
They're down to the 20. All the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. He's going into the end zone. The Bears have won. The Bears have won. Oh, my God. The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football.
Have you ever been there? Where you just need to get out as many words as possible?
Say 3 things, 4 or 5 things. No, man, those are great. I love the fact that his voice cracked, because I've been there. You know, when you push to a certain level, and let's say if your voice is 1 to 10 and you can only get a 10 out of your voice, that's as loud as you can go, and then you try to go to 11, and your voice just goes, ah! I did that with a Ryan Braun home run once, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to push it in, and then my voice just went Peter Brady.
No.
I'll take Johnny Most.
Okay,
Both
Havlicek,
phenomenal.
nice.
Johnny, what was Johnny Most? What seed was he? Was that?
That's a 6 over,
Oh, okay.
upset over a 3.
Oh, man, okay.
We
yeah,
are in full tournament mode
I
here.
I like the Johnny Most.
Okay, our 4-5 matchup. Number 5 is going to be Bill Buckner, called by Vin Scully. And
Poor Bill
number
Buckner.
4 went to the world of boxing. Down goes Frazier. Let's take a listen.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
You may hear him. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. The heavyweight champion is taking the mandatory 8 count, and Foreman is as poised as can be in a neutral corner.
2 giants at the top of their game right there. Man.
Who advances?
See, under any other circumstance, I would go with Vin Scully. Any circumstance. Matter of fact, even if you put the Kirk Gibson home run for Vin Scully, I would have gone with that one. But that matchup, I got to go with Down Goes Frazier.
Okay, Howard Cosell.
I'm really sorry, Vin. I apologize.
Something tells me he's going to be okay with it. He's gotten every accolade in the world. He's a national treasure.
Oh, my gosh.
If someone sends him the footage of this segment, I don't think it's going to ruin his day. So
I'm sure he'll be watching online.
Absolutely. He's a big fan. So we have our final 4. So let's go to it now. We have the Russ Hodges, Giants win the pennant,
Yes.
over Johnny Most. Havlicek steals the ball. Who advances to the national championship?
So Johnny Most over Russ Hodges.
Hodges.
Russ Hodges, I'm going with.
Okay, shot it around the world.
Yeah, shot it
okay.
around the world.
And then Miracle on Ice against Down Goes Frazier.
Oh, man. This is a good game. For a broadcaster.
You're the expert.
I could have done all those calls, by the way, without the video. I could have just recreated
We
them.
had that idea, actually. We didn't want to put you on the spot.
I'm going to say Miracle on Ice.
And then
Got to
who,
be number 1.
and then who wins over Miracle and Giants win the pennant?
I don't want to do that.
We're putting you on the spot.
I'm going to do Russ Hodges.
Russ Hodges. Wow.
With apologies
Giants win
to
the
Al
pennant.
Michaels.
Listen, because you said you can do them all, can we now get a Russ Hodges from Brian Anderson? Just
The
straight
Giants win the pennant! The Giants win the pennant! They're going crazy!
We didn't even need
He
that
was
much
the first real
prompting
yeller. He was the first screamer. He was the inspiration for me and Kevin Harlan and all of the screamers out there. That's great. Great side story, though. Ernie Harwell called that moment as well.
Yep.
And nobody knew about it. It was he actually called that version of it, and it was never recorded. And the great Ernie Harwell, he said, only Mrs. Harwell knows that I called that famous moment.
What a fantastic story. Ernie Harwell, obviously the great Tigers announcer, and famously was traded once for a player. Back in
Very
his
good.
day. Brian Anderson, good luck. It's going to be a big couple weeks coming up for you, not only with March Madness, but then you go right into baseball season as well. We should remind everyone, March Madness, do we need to tell everyone? It begins Tuesday, March 14th. All 67 games of tournament action will be live across TBS, CBS, TNT, and True TV. We often wonder, could another team ever replicate the Golden State Warriors' success? Well, one coach looked to find an answer. Coach Steve Green of South Plains Junior College outside of Lubbock, Texas, was coming off of an up-and-down season. So he decided to use the Warriors as inspiration. Let's get more into it as Coach Green joins me now. Coach, great to talk with you. Now, a little backstory. You found yourself with a roster that had 15 players and 12 of them were guards. So was it this lightning bolt of inspiration that hit you that you said, hey, I could be the junior college version of the Golden State Warriors?
I don't know if it's quite that simple, or it really may have been quite that simple. When you get your group together and we're just kind of out there playing and what have you, and they're all standing around on a 3-point line shooting the ball, and you don't see anybody go down to the block and work on drop step moves or things like that. I mean, it seemed to me like the logical thing to do is to kind of devise some type of scheme that could really use the entire floor. And there's not a better template out there right now, in my opinion, than the Warriors. So
that's a fact.
Why not? So we went to work. We did some research. We started downloading some tapes, and YouTube was. We should probably give credit to YouTube. The next thing you know, we're calling some of their plays and trying to execute some of their cuts and things.
Shout out to YouTube. Now, your wife said you were, quote, this is her words, obsessed with watching as much Warriors tape as possible. So I'm going to ask you to put a number on it. You can ballpark it. How many hours of Warriors footage have you watched in the last year?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I've seen just about everything on YouTube. We've tried to look at a lot of stuff that Curry does and at Thompson, and we looked at a lot of combinations of them screening for each other, and we gave them their own names. I'm sure they have different calls and what have you, but twist screens and flare screens and down screens and slips and things of that sort. And we took a couple of our players that we thought came close to, playing the same style. Obviously, I mean, there's a big difference in, my guys and their guys, but relatively speaking, some of these guys here were able to execute some of the things that they did. As far as hours, I mean, I watch every game, and watch it until I see something different that I haven't seen before, and then try to clip it out, and then we talk about it. Is this something that one of our kids could use? And so we, that's I don't know, 2 hours a day, for quite some time. So. You got to watch TV. I live out here in West Texas. There's not a whole lot else to do, so why not spend it watching something that you love? So.
It's something that's going to help you along the way. I'm sure everyone watching is wondering, well, you implemented all these Warriors plays. Did it actually work? You finished the season undefeated. So clearly it did work. After watching all the Warriors and all this footage, if you could get in a room with Steve Kerr, what would you want to ask him? What would you want to say to him? What would that conversation be like?
How much of it is calls, and how much of it is just playing and just reads? And do you think that it's a philosophy, or is it is it pretty well scripted? Things of that sort. How often do you let players break out of what you're doing because they have special talents? What do you think that special talent does to an opponent? I mean, I try to look at, and I don't know how they do that in the NBA. One thing I used to tell people all the time that I do know about the NBA is I don't know anything about the NBA.
Okay.
And so Curry coming down. I still remember the shot he hit against Oklahoma City, I think last year. In the regular season, when he just pulled up, the last second shot from, my goodness, I know he did have a tape measure where he hit it from, but you could see the look on the fans' faces when he dribbled the ball across the line, and they started, there's nobody on him. Basketball game, and what kind of impact that has on on the team's defense, and when you just don't know where they're going to shoot it from, and he's very capable of making that shot, and so I would want to know things like that, kind of the game within the game. A lot of people can, you can draw up their sets and those things like that, but the fear that they strike in an opponent when Klay Thompson comes off the screen and a ball never goes below his shoulders and he's already launched another three, what does that do to defense coming out on the perimeter and things?
Yeah.
Just things like that.
Oh, and you're so right about Curry just completely demoralizes his opponents. I mean, we just saw this the other day when they're playing the Atlanta Hawks, and you got Dennis Schroder and Dwight Howard arguing on the court, and all of a sudden Curry comes down and drills a three. I mean, that kind of stuff is incredibly hard to come back from. Listen, Coach Green, we wish you nothing but the best coming up in your postseason tournament, although I feel like, you've already accomplished so much. Going undefeated this season, 28-0, is a serious accomplishment. Please pass on our best to your players. Your Steph Curry, Jordan Brangers, who we watched in those highlights there, he just is phenomenal. So we're looking forward to more from him, and just really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about him.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach. Well, that was fun. That is going to do it for this Wednesday edition of SI Now. We will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern with a fresh look at all the sports news. But until then, stick with SI.com, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SI Now Live. Have a great afternoon. See you tomorrow.
James drove his RAV4 hybrid, unaware death was lurking. What? He was challenged by a team of lumberjacks.
Let's do this.
He would drive them to Hard Knocks Canyon, where he would risk broken legs, losing limbs, and slipping and dying.
Not helping.
But death would have to wait. James left with newfound knowledge, a man's gratitude, and his shirt. How far will you take the all-new RAV4 hybrid? Toyota, let's go places. James drove his RAV4